Now, with general election just a year away, the BJP is leaving no stone unturned to raise the poll pitch, and the party is already putting its star campaigner to the forefront. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who will be visiting Mumbai today. PM Modi will address BJP workers and target Congress over Indira Gandhi's decision to impose emergency 43 years ago. Prime Minister Modi tweeted, and I quote, "India remembers the emergency as a dark period during which every institution was subverted and an atmosphere of fear was created. Not only people, but also ideas and artistic freedom was held hostage to a power politics." Prime Minister Modi will visit at a time when heavy rains have wreaked havoc in the maximum city. And Fadnavis government and the BJP ally Shiv Sena are under fire for not being prepared to tackle the rains and allowing the city to descend into civic chaos.
Trains and flights affected. Cars buried as walls collapse.
Who is responsible for this?
Dosti people, BMC people, all hand in glove.
Civic authorities caught napping yet again. Mumbaikars woke up to a sinking feeling on Monday after rain slashed the city through the day on Sunday. Monsoon mayhem leading to chaos. A scenario which has become all too common in the city. Owing to the heavy showers, several parts of the city, including Khar, Dahisar, Bhandup, Andheri Chakala and Parel were waterlogged.
This is not the first time over here that this waterlogging is taking place, but it is the every year same situation. Several things have been said by the BMC officials and the local politicians that water won't be here accumulating, but every year this is the same problem. हर बार पानी भरता है यहाँ पे.
सर हर बार 1-1.5 घंटा बारिश गिरा तो इधर कम से कम 4 फीट से 5 फीट पानी होना ही चाहिए.
If waterlogging wasn't enough, a wall at an apartment complex in South Mumbai collapsed on Monday morning following incessant rains, which led to a road caving in.
There was a landslide at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you can see the number of cars it has gone down. 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. And there's a construction work is going on here. And people are complaining and making allegation that because of this construction work, the lower part, the base of this entire building got so weakened up, and that's the reason after heavy rainfall, this situation has occurred.
Mumbai police filed an FIR against the builders and several other BMC officials. The FIR says that the accused carried out illegal constructions causing danger to life of others. Waterlogged roads and traffic mess greeted thousands of schools and office goers on Monday morning. And with monsoons back in Mumbai, how can potholes be far away?
You can see this is the second spell of rain, and you can see that there are potholes again. Every year the BMC tries to say that we are trying to control the menace of the pothole, but they are unable to get any kind of a success in that.
Mumbai is a city which is said to be always on the move, but it takes only a few hours of rain to bring it to its knees. With Met Department predicting more rains for maximum city, the situation is likely to get worse. But the big question is, when will the civic apathy end? And when will the authorities go beyond mere lip service of trying to find a solution? With Sahil Joshi, Virendra Singh Gunawat and Saurav Vakhtania, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, that's our top focus. We'll be tracking that story very closely. The Prime Minister is in Mumbai, and there will be questions asked of the Prime Minister as well. But now let's shift focus to the burning question. It was about 40 years ago that the emergency was placed in. In fact, this is now, if I can just take this question forward to this debate, and emergency event, a misplaced priority. What is happening in Mumbai? Are the authorities not even aware of how the city is sinking? NDA turning a blind eye to the Mumbai chaos? potholes, civic mess. Is this not an emergency? Will the Prime Minister address the issues affecting the people? And eyes on 2019 polls. Are the real issues being absolutely ignored by the BJP and the NTA? Let me very quickly at this point of time introduce my guest on the show. We have Sudesh Verma. Sudesh Verma is joining us from the Bharatiya Janata Party. Vimlendu Jha, environmentalist, will also be with us from Delhi. We'll very quickly be going across to other guests. That includes the Congress Party, the spokesperson Sanjay Jha as well. But let me start with you, Sudesh Verma. Please explain to my viewers, why is it that Mumbai has to go through this every time in the monsoon? Why is it that the BMC, why is it that the state government is always caught unprepared? Why is it that the taxpayer money is going down the drain, or rather, as of now, stagnated on the streets with that water level?
There is no denying the fact that there needs to be better administration. There needs to be better preparedness for the monsoon. But Ankit, we should never try to compare such a situation with emergency, because those who have not seen emergency 43 years back, I'm sure you also may not be aware.
Sir,
much,
I am talking about the environmental emergency. Let's not digress and go into the political emergency. I am today not going to let you take the country back to 43 years. Yes, emergency was a very dark period, but this is not the answer that I am asking you as far as the infrastructure of Mumbai is concerned. Please go ahead.
Ankit, Mumbai administration is there, the government is there, they're trying to tackle the situation. Okay, I have come here to discuss emergency. We are observing the emergency as a black day, and the reason for that, you see, constitution maker in the constitution provided for fundamental right after great thought that if you have the fundamental right, means that it cannot be suspended, your right to protest, your right to speech, your right
Sudesh
to
Verma,
movement,
right to get a cleaner air, right to have a proper infrastructure is also a fundamental right. Why are you not? Why is it that you are pushing us back to the emergency? The Prime Minister today is going to address a rally in Mumbai, possibly talking about the dark days of emergency. Will the Prime Minister also speak about how people every single day, 4 people have died? 4 people have died in Mumbai, and you want to just talk about politics?
No, it's not politics. I'm sorry. Probably you are failing to understand, or I'm not able to make you understand. You see, we are talking of the second freedom struggle that happened in this country, and how the freedoms were curtailed to achieve a political
Don't need a history lesson, sir. We don't need a history lesson. People know about that. You may right now utilize it just for your political purpose. It's been 43 years.
No.
Even if I take the entire period, nothing has changed as far as Mumbai is concerned. The infrastructure is still like that. Sudesh Verma, hold on to your thought. Vimlendu, I want to come to you. At this point of time. This is not less than an environmental emergency that we are seeing all across the country, be it Delhi, be it Mumbai. 2005 is a grim reminder of the authorities absolutely sleeping when people were dying, and Mumbai, in fact, was submerged under that flood. It just seems that no lessons are learned. Every single year, it's the same story.
Absolutely. So, Ankit, we don't need a better crisis management, but a better civic preparedness. Right now, what we're talking about is that there is an absolute lack of political and bureaucratic will in Mumbai. Because right now, when you talk about emergency, which is a civic emergency, an ecological emergency, the gentleman here who is actually responsible for the governance is actually talking about an emergency which happened 43 years ago. Right now, for years together, we've actually seen the real mafia take over Mumbai. The drains have not been cleaned, the potholes still exist, the mangroves and the wetlands have been destroyed and destructed, and then every time this happens, we compliment the Janta of Mumbai for resilience. No, you're taking them for granted. Resilience is not what we want and want to celebrate, but we want to celebrate better civic infrastructure, which completely lacks in Mumbai and many, many other cities. Like right now, imagine, we're talking about a public health crisis. We're talking about areas being flooded, and there's our Prime Minister, who's the custodian of governance of our country, not talking about an absolute failure year after year. I don't know if people will swim through puddles of water or take a boat to go for his rally, and if that's a symbol of governance, really a sorry state that we're talking about.
Right.
And we don't learn from our past mistakes. We only wake up right now in June, July.
You know, Vimlendu, and Sanjay Jha, I also want to bring you in. Sanjay Jha of the Congress Party also joining us on the broadcast. Sanjay Jha, while the government has all the right to speak about the dark period of emergency which was brought down on the country by the Congress Party, the other fact also remains that despite, you know, this anniversary of emergency and the Prime Minister and the entire BJP going all out, is it just before a few months in the election, misplaced priorities? Mumbai is sinking. The Prime Minister today will be standing there and speaking about the emergency period in Indira Gandhi. Should he not be speaking about the emergency on the streets of Mumbai as this waterlogged city is waiting for some solutions?
Well, I can tell you, Ankit, I think, you know, Mr. Jha, who spoke before me earlier, has hit the nail on the head. You know, I live in Mumbai. And you should see pictures of a massive, shall we say, you know, a manhole with dimensions that have been created opposite Metro. I mean, it's like a crater on the moon. And you're talking about South Mumbai, where the Chief Minister lives, and one of the most prized real estate assets in our country. And, you know, the BMC, which is led by the BJP and Shiv Sena for the last 25 years, have taken Mumbai, which, by the way, when it was called Bombay, was a brand. I mean, Bombay is an international global brand, not just because it is the commercial capital of India, it's also the gateway to the entertainment universe that India provides to the rest of the world. And we have been living here for the last, you know, almost 3 decades. And I can tell you, Ankit, for a fact, that, you know, other than the standard, you know, platitudes you will hear when, you know, these potholes are discovered and, you know, the city kind of, shall we say, it's a concrete jungle where I think it is a nightmare of epic proportions. But now, Sanjay, the monsoons have just begun, by the way.
Sanjay, the problem is that
is that an excuse?
The words that you are using and the things that you are saying, it's not that you have not been in government, and it's not that the situation in Mumbai was any different when the Congress NCP was ruling. The problem, Sanjay, is that it is just the passing of the buck from the BJP to the Congress. Ultimately, it just depends who is in opposition, and they can just go out and hit out at the government. Nobody is tackling the real issues. That's the problem. The taxpayer money in Mumbai, which is one of the wealthiest municipal corporation, is just going down the drain. See these visuals that I put out.
Let me answer that. You know, Ankit, you know, I can tell you one thing for a fact. I mean, this is one time, you know, all of us get accused of trying to indulge in rhetoric in politics. But the primary responsibility, maybe not 100%, but at least 85 to 90% of the responsibility for civic infrastructure in this cosmopolitan city that all of us love as Mumbaikars,
yes,
is with the BMC. Now, you know that the BMC has a war chest, if I can use that term, which is bigger than several states of India. And by the way, you know what does the Shiv Sena and the BJP do? They put that money in bank fixed deposits and earn interest. And I don't know whether there is a kickback there as well. It should be investigated.
Right.
I think the larger point here is that this is a city where we should be, you know, kind of celebrating it like America celebrates New York, or you know, the UK celebrates London. A city with buzz, a city for the young. It's a city of dreams. And what have we made this?
Well, those dreams as of now seems to be absolutely on the road with those waterlogged roads of Mumbai. Sanjay, just hold on to that thought. I also want to bring in National Affairs Editor Rahul Srivastava, who is also with us on the broadcast. Rahul, on a day when the BJP is going all out to tell the people of the dark period of the emergency, they will go out and hit out at the Congress party, especially the first family of the Congress party, Indira Gandhi, would be on the target of the Prime Minister. The question that I want to, and possibly every Mumbaikar would want to ask today is, fine, it happened 43 years back. For the Mumbaikar, and for a common citizen, what has changed? We still have, shouldn't the Prime Minister of this country, just 1 year before the election, be talking about the real issues that affect mine and your life, rather than just taking us back to the history?
Ankit, borrow from Mahatma Gandhi. Mumbai has enough for the need of people, but not enough for the greed of people. Subsequent governments over the last several decades have ensured the ruins of Mumbai. There is a river which used to serve as a wonderful drainage system. It's next to the sea. Drainage should not be an issue. The problem is rampant illegal construction, illegal colonies for votes, no larger vision for infrastructure. Shiv Sena and BJP rule, as Sanjay is saying, Bombay's BMC for 25 years. But they are rivals today. I don't know how BMC is being run. There are huge amount of question marks. But the question is larger. I think if you notice, today a narrative is being built around emergency. I think it has a context because in the last few months, Rahul Gandhi and Congress have been saying that under Prime Minister Modi's watch, there has been a dilution of basic rights of people. And second, some amount of dilution as far as the autonomous and democratic institutions are concerned. It's a counter narrative. The worrying thing is that in the poll year, you find that real issues are totally getting sidelined. You have got 16,000 trees being cut in Delhi.
Absolutely.
It's not a poll issue. You have got Mr. Yogi Adityanath talking about reservations in AMU and Jamia. What about atrocities on Dalits in Uttar Pradesh? Have you checked that? Suddenly you discover that you need to be good to the people, ensuring reservation in AMU. It's a poll issue.
Yes.
You've got temple talk starting all over again. You find that real people's issues, smart cities, is Bombay a smart city 4 years after the Prime Minister Modi government came? Not only that, in Karnataka we saw an extremely caste-driven election by all parties.
True.
We find that all political, in UP for example, Samajwadi Party and BSP are coming together for emotive appeals of caste.
Right. Let's just take that to Sudesh Sharma. Sudesh Sharma, you know, as Rahul was putting it out, for a political narrative, possibly bringing back emergency and hitting out at the Congress works for you because it blunts their attack when they take on Prime Minister of subverting the entire constitutional setup of the institutions. But for the people, it could be a very well thought out strategy for your core vote bank. But what about the common people of this country? Will you also address their issues as well?
Of course, we are addressing those issues. Infrastructure is our main concern. And if you see the pace of development that is taking place, then you would know where we stand and where the UPA stood. I entirely agree with your National Affairs editor, because you see, these are the problems that exist in society and we are trying to resolve the issues one by one. It's a huge problem that has come to us as a legacy. But it doesn't mean that you don't observe emergency, which was actually the murder of democracy in this country.
Sir, 16 months, Prime Minister in his election speech said, give me 16 months and I will change the face of this country. Even if it was unrealistic, it's been more than that. I mean, my only submission to you, sir, would the Prime Minister and the BJP not have taken... Sudesh Sharma, listen to me. Sudesh Sharma, listen to me. Sudesh Sharma, listen to me. Listen to me and then comment.
This is our democratic right to go.
Listen to me and then comment about it. You are talking about legacy.
What happened during emergency?
Sudesh Sharma, you know, both of us keep speaking on each other. Nobody would be able to hear you. Neither people would be able to understand the question that I'm asking, so please allow me. Please allow me. Please allow me. All I'm saying is, Mr. Verma,
you have asked me a question, listen to my answer.
Sir, your answer cannot be an election speech, no sir. I'm only asking you that if right now the Prime Minister would have taken this emergency day, would have gone out and said, Indira Gandhi put the country into a dark period. Today, as your Prime Minister, I stand and I will tell you that there will not be a repeat of that, and B, I am going to observe this by making sure that all the rights of the people, right to breathe, right to live, right to livelihood, and the infrastructure in Bombay will be taken care of.
Ankit, you are wrong. Because the first thing is your right to speech. You are able to anchor this so because the right to speech exists. Your fundamental right exists. You can speak anything against the government.
Exactly, and it's not the BJP who has given me the fundamental rights, sir. I am sorry, don't try and take credit of things that BJP is not even involved in. I don't understand this. I don't even understand this entire argument that you are trying to put out.
What was given by the Constitution?
It was 43 years back. Today I'm talking about the emergency on the streets of Mumbai.
What is the problem if we want to go to the people and tell them that this happened?
All right.
There are authorities to tackle that. It's not the first time it has happened.
And exactly, and this is exactly the question that the Congress is raising on you as well. Is the emergency that took place in this country 43 years back, is this more relevant to the situation which we are in? History, of course, teaches you lessons, but what about the present? With the general elections just a year away, the BJP is leaving no stone unturned to raise the poll pitch. In fact, the party is already putting out star campaigner in form of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who will be visiting Mumbai today. The Prime Minister will address a BJP worker rally and target Congress over Indira Gandhi's decision to impose emergency 43 years ago. Prime Minister Modi tweeted and hit out at the Congress, saying India remembers the emergency as a dark period, during which every institution was subverted and an atmosphere of fear was created. Not only people, also ideas and artistic freedom was held hostage to power politics. Prime Minister will visit the city at a time when heavy rains have wreaked havoc in the city, and Fadnavis government and the BJP ally Shiv Sena are under fire for not being prepared to tackle the rains and allowing the city to descend into a civic mess, a civic chaos. Why I read that out for you is for the fact that today, when the entire Bharatiya Janata Party, including the Prime Minister, will be talking about the emergency, taking you back to 43 years, remember what you are facing today. Sanjay Jha, but my question to you is that when Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party, you have also said this in many debates, that there is an undeclared emergency which is going on in the country. Institutions are being subverted. You talk about election commission, you talk about the courts as well. In fact, one of your colleagues even moved to impeach the Chief Justice of India. Don't you think that your argument won't hold, and the BJP every time will go back to your past as you go back to their, ranging right to the freedom struggle in which you say they have no role to play? Shouldn't Rahul Gandhi now come out and just apologize to the country for what his grandmother did and just settle it once and for all? Let this be dragged back to the real issues than history.
Ankit, before I respond to your question, two very quick points. If you look at how the BJP is now bringing Kashmir into the political narrative by the sudden and abrupt decision to walk away from the coalition, which is basically a public admission of monumental failure in India's most sensitive state, or for example today talking about the emergency, these are essentially clear categorical signs that Narendra Modi and the BJP are in panic because they see the writing on the wall. And I'm predicting here with great confidence, Narendra Modi won't be the Prime Minister in 19 and the BJP is headed for a defeat.
Sir, we'll see that in 2019.
The second point, as far as the emergency is concerned, let me tell you this. Mrs. Indira Gandhi in Yavatmal in 1978, in a public gathering, in a speech said, I regret the decision to impose the emergency and the excesses that happened. The Congress party, by the way, officially released in one of its notes a couple of years ago, basically strongly denouncing the fact that there were many incidents that happened during the emergency that should not have happened at all. And give credit to Mrs. Gandhi for this, that in 1977, 21 months later, she called for elections. She lost herself, not just the Congress party. But in 1980, the people of India realized that while she was being criticized and blamed for the decision of the emergency, the truth is her democratic credentials were never ever under dispute. So, and she won a massive mandate.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, but I take your point. You are saying that including the former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and the Congress party have already expressed their regret and apologized for emergency. Then what stops Rahul Gandhi from doing it today? Blunt the BJP's attack. Come out and say it. People would in fact appreciate Rahul Gandhi coming out as and in fact apologizing for it, possibly like the same way Prime Minister Manmohan Singh did for the 1984 riots.
Yeah, Ankit, can I tell you very frankly, the Congress party, unlike what the BJP is today, they accuse us of it, but today they are a personality cult. BJP runs on the whims and fancies of an Amit Shah and a Narendra Modi. Yesterday there's a Ghanshyam Tiwari who's quit them in Rajasthan. There's an Nana Patole who quit them here in Maharashtra. What did they say? This is a highly centralized, autocratic, fascist, authoritarian political party. And I want to put this straight up front on your channel. There were 21 months of officially declared emergency during 1975-77, but India has had 49 months of uninterrupted, undeclared, unofficial emergency since Narendra Modi has become Prime Minister. And I'll give you two examples. Look at the media and the judiciary. The judiciary goes on record and says India's democracy is in danger, the Supreme Court collegium. And look at the media, the way they have tried to muzzle everybody. I mean, Gauri Lankesh has been murdered. You have Barkha Dutt openly going and saying she's getting chilling threats from the establishment.
Sir, but this is not something that the country is experiencing for the first time. In fact, this is exactly why this argument won't hold, Rahul, because every time they'll quote these examples, the BJP will go back and quote the examples of what Indira Gandhi did in 1977. In fact, the newspapers were not even allowed to publish. All the newspapers had to come out and with a blank page to in fact protest this. Isn't this exactly what the narrative is going to be? Shouldn't the Congress party now looking to pull it back to the real issues, because that is exactly where the BJP would fail?
You see, Ankit, I think real issues are very difficult for any political parties in today's context to actually taking. Political parties are more intent on either coming back to power or to defeat Narendra Modi. In that scenario, we have seen Karnataka as an ample example.
Yes.
Say even Gujarat before that, Rahul Gandhi turned Hindu, he turned Brahmin, he talked about Janayudhari. Then in Karnataka, we saw an extremely caste-driven election in which before the election, Mr. Siddaramaiah, what he did for the Lingayats is part of political legend in this country now. It's going to be an extremely real issue-less election, it seems. All political parties are decided. For example, I would like to remind the BJP spokesperson, he may have forgotten my name, but he should remember that emergency was imposed 43 years ago. 60% odd people in this country are below 35. Do you think people remember emergency? Is it a political issue? It is bread and butter, which is the real issue.
Rahul, before I go to Sudesh, very quickly, would it be a master stroke of a kind from Rahul Gandhi if he today comes out and says, my grandmother made a mistake, let's move on, I'm going to talk to the young people, I'm going to talk about issues, I will only ask Prime Minister Narendra Modi about the issues today, won't let him take the country back to 43 years?
I think it's a very difficult thing to do, because I think what Rahul Gandhi and the Congress must be feeling is that this is a trap in which if he apologizes, he will walk in. Right now, the idea is to counter the narrative which the Congress is building. So I don't think an apology is coming. But I think what Congress can actually do, instead of this tutu-meme politically which has been launched, it needs to get back to the streets, take up the issues of the people. I have not seen congressmen today protesting in Delhi.
Or in Mumbai right now. Stand on those streets today where there is water. And before I go to Sudesh, Vimlendu, I want to come to you as a citizen. Not as somebody who's an expert in environmental crisis or somebody who watches these things very closely, protests for them. As a citizen, when you go out to vote in 2019, what will be the issue in your head, or when you press that button? Will it be what Indira Gandhi did 43 years ago, or what the last government did in the period, in the tenure that they were given to serve?
So Ankit, if our trees could vote, if our rivers and groundwater and wetlands, all of those could vote, none of these political parties would actually be be in power. They'll all run out of office in that sense. So these are the genuine issues, the way that the things are happening in Delhi, things are happening in Kolkata, the way our governance is in shatters all across the country, be it at the civic level or at the state level or at a national level. I'm going to vote in 2019 on issues of governance, not on issues of rhetoric. For me, it does not matter. Of course, it matters what we have inherited in a way, and if that the same narrative of emergency continues, I will of course keep that in mind. But for me today, my land, water, air, my jobs, my basic necessities, civic infrastructure, that is what is of prime importance. And if my political dispensation, political parties do not talk about it, I'm going to vote them out.
And Sudesh Verma, बहुत हो गया. About 43 years back, the vice president wants it to be brought into the curriculum. Tomorrow the Congress would say, let's bring Babri into the curriculum. Is that what people should read, or the new citizen of the new world should read about how to tackle the environmental problem, how to tackle the trees, how to tackle the groundwater? Aren't these things something that you should be talking about rather than just hitting out at the Congress for the past?
Ankit, one quick comment.
Sanjay, I'm going to come to you. Just let Sudesh quickly wrap up his point. sir.
You see, I would like to respond to what Mr. Sanjay Jha said. Then I'll come to your question, because you see, all the people who have given observation, I need to react to that.
Quickly, sir.
Mr. Sanjay Jha must know that dictatorship runs in the dynasty. This dictatorship runs in the dynasty. It is because of dynasty politics that does not accept democracy that we are observing, and we see the dictatorial trend. One Congress leader comes and calls the army chief Gali ka Gunda. The other person comes and tries to impeach the Chief Justice of India because they want a different kind of judgment. So they are the one who are trying to terrorize society. These are the trends of emergency. Don't talk of emergency in lighter vein. This is what we warn against. Rahul would know. Rahul, I did not forget your name. It just didn't come on the tip of my tongue. Because I know you have been a friend. I have been a journalist. I know you. You see, the whole issue is that we need to remember what excesses happened during emergency so that nobody dares to repeat. And they talk of emergency in a very flimsy way.
Sudesh,
tell me what steps we have taken where you can say that we have tried to throttle democracy. Give me one example.
Babri Masjid?
Give me one example. Why should we apologize? If we have committed a crime, punish us. This is what Modi ji says.
And exactly what the people of India did. They punished Indira Gandhi. They punished Indira Gandhi right after the emergency.
So those who have
That
demolished,
is exactly what I'm saying. The narrative has to move on from the emergency and the Babri Masjid. People need to, as Vimlendra was saying, it is about the trees and the water in the rivers.
They need to apologize again and again. You know what happens in Japan? Every time these people go to Japan, those who dropped bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they apologize every year when they go there.
Sir, now we are going into an extreme,
1 lakh people were incarcerated in jail without any trial.
Emergency and Hiroshima and Nagasaki are two very different things. Thousands of people died there. At least the situation was not the same in India. Of course, the excesses were happened and they were recorded. And the people of India did in fact punish Indira Gandhi right after that. Sanjay Jha, and as a responsible opposition party, you wanted to also make a comment, but I also want to request you, if you want to fight this election, win this election today, why aren't I seeing the Congress workers on the streets in Mumbai? It can't be won in TV debates or by just talking about the BJP or the undeclared emergency. They will always take you back to the history. What is the Congress doing which is different that today, if you talk about trees and the water and the rivers, possibly you would be able to get more votes rather than indulging in a sparring match with the BJP?
Absolutely. I think, Ankit, both you and Rahul have been absolutely, on the dot. I mean, the issues that plague India today, whether it's joblessness, the collapse of urban infrastructure, farmer distress, national security. I mean, these are things that nobody even talks about. I think the BJP lives in the past. I think the Congress party is the party of the future. And let me skip the rhetoric. What does India have today? You have a democratically elected dictatorship, and that's one of the reasons why we are struggling, because it's such a complex, diverse country with multiple challenges that no one individual, an individual can't even run a company by themselves. You're talking about a country, and the manifestations of failure are hitting Mr. Modi.
Are you writing
and I want to make one very quick
answer?
Point. And that point is Mr. Verma should know and his party should know that the Congress party, by the way, you are trying to distort history and change facts.
Sir,
but the Congress party introduced the emergency in the textbooks in the year 2007 when we were in government. When we were in government,
people have shown you your position.
The problem is, despite what we see, Rahul, ultimately, in the election time, it only becomes about these rhetoric, about this and trying to create a narrative. It only becomes about trying to swing the votes, either the caste or the political narrative. That's all that the parties and the political parties, in fact, care about. I'm completely out of time. I wanted a last comment from you, but I'm completely out of time. I just want to end with what Vimlendra said. If trees and the rivers and the mountains of this country could vote, possibly both Mr. Sanjay Jha and Sudesh Verma, your parties would have been struggling to get any amount of vote to rule this country. Both of you need to wake up to the real emergency of this country, the infrastructure mess, the environmental mess that we are facing almost in every city, in every state. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me on this edition of The Burning Question.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.